Hi everybody, this is Brian Koo with another ROK video. Today we're going to be watching an Ark of Osiris match between the Handsome Devils and Kingdom 803. 803 had won 12 Ark of Osiris matches in a row heading into this match. We had also won a number of games in a row, and so we figured this would be a very close match. And one where we could really see where our team was at, because we haven't had tough competition in quite a while. Our strategy at the beginning of the match is basically to do XY Nevsky rallies on the enemy obelisks, and then we do fast cavalry obelisk rallies on our own side to get our troops there quickly. We're lucky to have two Jadwiga YSS garrisons on the team, and so we throw one of those in each of our defensive rallies, and then we just make them captain of the obelisk, and that allows us to have a very calm start to the match, because we know that Jadwiga YSS is going to be able to deal with the enemy rally. It's not going to melt. We're going to be able to teleport in time, and we can just swarm the last half of the enemy rally down if we need to. At the same time, on offense, our two rally leaders have the option to either cancel the rally early or let it go all the way to the obelisk and see if we can surprise the enemy and take their obelisks. It's always interesting to see how crisp an enemy is right at the start of the match. I think you get like a really good feel for how organized they are by observing their start. In this case, the enemy was a little bit slow to cast Relentless Siege, and they weren't applying like any pressure that bothered us. Here I just kind of see out of the corner of my eye a couple of blue lines headed to the Shrine of War, and I just make a on-the-spot decision to send all our marches to the Sky Altar instead. It was really just a feel play. You'll see that I hadn't actually checked the Sky Altar to see if the enemy was sending there, but I saw those marches hedging to the Shrine of War, and I'm like, you know what? I bet they don't have anybody at the Sky Altar. And it worked out really well for us, because we end up getting to the Sky Altar before they do. I think I tell people here that we should cut off the reinforcements, and then we see the timer, and it's like, well, forget that. Just take the building. So that was a really nice start for us in this match. Nice to get the jump on him there. It gave me a little bit of confidence to make a good call, because when you're playing against a team that's won 12 in a row, you don't really know what you're up against. We've certainly played teams in Ark that are just really, really good, that are better than us. They're more organized, they have stronger marches, and it does make us uncomfortable. It makes us, not feel great about the way we play. And I thought that was possible here. But then, when we get off to a good start, it definitely gives you a confidence boost, and it just makes you comfortable that you're going to be able to play your normal style. You're going to be able to play to your normal level, and you might have quite a bit of success. You can see that we've also taken the enemy Shrine of Life on the top side. We've taken one of their outposts, so it's just a good start for us. And we're just starting to mobilize mid now. We generally just put the green shield marker up where we want people to form up at the middle. And so I put it on their side as a default because no one was there, and I thought, maybe we'll get to mid before they do. Although in this case they do mobilize mid before us. And you are going to see a few of our marches get caught out because the enemy has more marches there, and those marches either just go to the green shield when that's too aggressive, or they just get a little antsy and engage the enemy too early, which is that march there just went to the green shield and the enemy was ready for it. In retrospect, I probably should have put that green shield a little bit deeper in our territory so the enemy was not able to just attack us real quickly. But they don't really play with aggression for this arc. One of the things we're going to look at in this match is the importance of getting to middle early. Because, you see here that the two armies are standing very close to each other. It's really a razor thin situation as far as when to engage and, not get caught out, but also not be too defensive. I told everyone, hey, as soon as these marches from the left side get there, we're going in. And so everyone on voice was ready to attack. And then once we cast the skills, anyone not on voice also knows it's time to attack. And so we got a very good engage there on the enemy. We cast both skills. We put the fight on their side, and the enemy was slow to cast their skills. I don't think they even had Mystical Formation as one of their skills. And the War Drums was a bit late. So we just got a very nice start to this fight, and you're seeing that we're getting a clean arc grab right off the bat. We try to keep rallying through the arc. We were still holding the Sky Altar, and so there was no need to rally that building. You see that they've taken our Desert Altar and have some open field presence that's harassing anyone trying to get to the Desert Altar. And that's because all the players that we have assigned to open field lane duty, they go middle pretty much every time. And so we had more people middle. They were able to take control of the sides a little bit, but we'll take that trade every day of the week because we had what we needed middle to grab this first arc. And you'll see that I've sent my XY Nevsky middle. My XY Nevsky is assigned to rally the enemy Sky Altar, but when I sent it middle, we had that building. It's a good thing I sent it mid because you can see me here taking down the Arc carrier. I then grab the Arc and get a pretty good run on it here. And one thing that's interesting about Arc, especially in these sort of non-elite level Arc matches, is that it often comes down to the decisions of just a few players in terms of, do they kill the Arc carrier quickly? Do they grab the Arc quickly? Because a lot of players tend to get distracted by the fight and they forget about the Arc, and if I had not been there with my XY to take down that Arc carrier, they would have gotten a good run with it, even though we were winning the fight. I'm still trying to get through this open field army that's blocking us. I think about casting Running Charge there, but I see we've got the Arc well in hand and make the decision to save those 2 points for later. Jay noticed that they had a rally come to our obelisk. He suggested that I counter rally that rally, and I think counter rallies on an obelisk are fine. I don't generally like counter rallies just because they take so long to form, and they basically reach the enemy when it's already hitting the garrison. But against an obelisk, you can pretty much pick up the enemy rally while it's still walking, and it just seems worth it. We do end up having a lot of trouble holding the Desert Altar during this match. They put more pressure on it. They sent better rallies at it. Whereas the Shrine of Life, they didn't have much open field there, and they sent pretty lackluster rallies. And my Jadwiga was able to hold that structure quite well. My Jadwiga is also pretty damn thick, so yeah, they just didn't have quite enough for that Shrine of Life. But they certainly disrupted us at the Desert Altar. They took it several times. And I think that one of the changes to this game with the addition of Nevsky is that, Nevsky rallies are so strong now that garrisons end up getting taken a lot more often than they used to. And that just tends to disrupt the flow of the defending team. They can't get into a routine of, reinforce, win the fight, refresh your marches, fill the building back up. There's a lot more need to take back structures, and I think teams would be smart to really plan ahead of time. Who's going to take back buildings? What march are they going to use? And quite frankly, what we do is we have strong players leave some strong marches at home for the sole purpose of being able to take back garrisons. Or really what they do is they put their strong marches in a garrison, and then if that building gets lost, their marches at home to start that take back rally very quickly. So 4 minutes before Ark spawns here, we're starting to mobilize middle. We didn't know it at the time, but the enemy was going to mobilize very heavily for this second Ark. I think they saw it as a key to get back in this game. We've got about a 7,000 point lead at this point. And by the way, you're seeing my Zenobia not get back to the Desert Altar in time. That was a mistake by me. I just thought I could refresh it, but you can see that I'm nowhere close to getting that garrison into the building in time. And so they've got another obelisk rally coming here. I think we have a Xeno YSS in that obelisk. So actually, let's talk about mid here. Duke sees that we have the numerical advantage. He says, hey, let's just charge in now. That seems like a great idea to me. So we get the early engage on the enemy there. We cast our skills, and we just take advantage of having more people mid to start the fight earlier than we had planned. That was just a spontaneous call that we made by looking at what was happening. And, I got to tell you, like, these ideas that come out of the blue that seem like good ideas as soon as they're suggested, I think those end up being the very best ideas that you can have. And that applies to Rise of Kingdoms, but that applies to life in general. If you're just like doing the same ideas that you've done in the past, if you're just repeating the same things that worked previously, yeah, that's going to work sometimes. But when you have an idea spontaneously that makes sense, I mean, those things are gold. We just really ruined their strategy here. They wanted to go heavy middle, but because we got there before they did, we destroyed half their army before the other half of their army got there. And we're just getting another clean run of this Ark. And at this point, the enemy's in quite a bit of trouble in the match. These things happen quickly. We're only halfway through, but their 12-game winning streak is very much looking in jeopardy. You know, they're continuing to pressure our Desert Altar. And I think at this point, I make the call that the inside lane players should keep going middle, and that the outside lane players should stay on the side. Because this arc felt won, but we saw the enemy continue to send marches middle. And so it was a little bit of a strange spot where we thought we won the arc, and then it was sort of like, wait a minute, let's make sure we finish the job here. And, you know, our strategy in the arc is, it's sort of simple, but what's good about it is that it's dynamic and it's balanced. We have 12 players total who are assigned to lane control, and they're essentially using 4 to 5 of their marches in the open field in an assigned lane. Some of them might also be rallying in that lane, so they can only use about 4 marches, but we're running a lot of marches in the field, hoping that they also garrison in real time as rallies are hitting, hoping they also join rallies in real time as our rallies are attacking the enemy. And then everyone else is basically assigned to just filling rallies, filling buildings, and they have one march that they can do what they want with. You see the enemy casting Desert Storm here. They really went all in on this second arc, but we got the jump on them, and so a lot of the skills they were casting were reactive. You saw them casting Bog Down earlier. You see them casting Desert Storm here at the last second, trying to stop us from returning this arc. And, you know, I think Bog Down is an okay skill, but to me, it's just a reactive skill. It's a skill that you cast when the enemy has an edge, when the enemy is carrying the arc. And I personally just enjoy the more proactive skills like Mystical Formation War Drums, as well as Heaven's Grace. We do use Valiant Stand, but that's more of like in an emergency break glass type of skill, where if a building is in deep trouble, especially an obelisk early in the match, it's really nice to have that Valiant Stand so that, you know, you can prevent disaster from happening. You don't want to lose that obelisk early on, and there's been times where us having Valiant Stand is what, you know, kept us safe. And so we just have that there as something we use every once in a while that ends up being very useful. But generally, we just have a pattern of hard push and then the 2 open field skills middle. And it just makes us an aggressive team that's able to win some matches by dominating the sides. We win other matches by dominating middle. We also have 3 or 4 gatherers per match, and we're trying to also take enemy outposts and disrupt their point gains there. So we just give ourselves the opportunity to win in a few different ways. If the enemy is heavily focused on a certain thing, then we can be neutral in that area and then just win the other categories. And yeah, it just gives us flexibility, and we've been playing together for a while, and so we are able to make tweaks during the match, like that early middle attack we did. And that's pretty much what we do. It's nothing too fancy. It's really more about operating a simple strategy efficiently. And it helps when you have leaders like me who can garrison multiple buildings, because it just gives other players the freedom to focus on just open field or just attacking. You see throughout the match that I'm also looking at what rallies are incoming. I'm just sort of like letting both sides of the map know, hey, you've got no rallies coming right now. You can send a few extra marches middle, or you've got a ton of rallies coming. They might be light middle this time. It gives you an ability to see what the enemy is focusing on, and then you just adapt to that. And, for this third arc here, we've gotten to middle before the enemy did. We set our marker on their side, and we really attempted to just never let them get to the temple. And so you're seeing different variations of why getting to middle early works well. Again, they're casting Bog Down when we've already got the Ark. We're already taking it to its final destination. And yeah, the Bog Down is nice. It gives you a little bit of value there, but it doesn't really change the outcome. And we like using skills that have the potential to change the outcome rather than just slow it down. One thing that the team was doing in this match was they kept bringing the Ark back to the Shrine of War on the top side. I personally prefer to bring it back to the middle obelisk because that's just deeper in our territory. It takes longer for enemy marches to get there. I know there's the potential for the enemy to take the outpost easily and do some kind of high risk, low probability play where they both take the outpost and grab the Ark and return it. But I honestly think teams can mitigate that risk almost every time, and it's just better to take the Ark to that outpost. The Shrine of War is just so accessible to the enemy. They can launch rallies on it. They can send a lot of marches there quickly. I would rather we take that Ark to the middle outpost, but players have a mind of their own, and so even in this case where I put a marker, take Ark here, the Ark went somewhere else. But you got to ride the wave in this game. You got 100 plus people in your alliance. In bigger A kingdoms, you've got at least one other alliance in there who has a mind of their own too. Yeah, I've certainly learned how much I want to micromanage while I'm playing this game, and I've also learned that you really can't micromanage. It's better to be a bit like Magic Johnson, where you just make everyone around you better and see what that gets you. So you see, after the arcs are sort of like well secured, our open field picks back up on the sides. We're able to swarm down the XY rally here at this desert altar. And yeah, I mean, the enemy applied decent pressure in this game on the inside lane. We never were able to get a good push on their Shrine of War, which I think is indicative of the fact that they were able to, put solid pressure on us. But at the same time, they had less presence on the outside lane. We took their Sky Altar multiple times, and that inside lane pressure was a drawback for them middle, because they just didn't have as many marches middle as we did. I can see why this team was able to win 12 in a row. They're sort of, in a way, they're doing something very similar to us. They're applying more open field presence than most teams do. They're pretty well coordinated in terms of getting to mid with numbers in time. I think what I saw here was that some of their rallies were lackluster. They were rallying with Attila Takeda. They did a Saladin William rally. They did a Ramses, I think, Nebu rally. This is really a world where you need to rally with Pakal Herald, and you need to rally with Nevsky. I think anything else is below par at this point. And so they weren't quite what we expected from a 12-win team. And I still don't know quite where we are in terms of our ability, but it was a nice test, and I think everyone was very happy that we came out of this game with a solid win. We didn't expect it to be this quote-unquote easy. So I think it speaks well for our team that we were able to, clearly beat these guys. We have always taken Ark of Osiris pretty seriously. I think that it's a important event for an alliance. First of all, people enjoy Ark of Osiris quite a bit, right? It's a chance to get on voice. It's a chance for everyone to say hi to each other, see how everybody's doing, and, spend a little time with each other outside of just the rather dry grind of the game where you're mostly just chatting with each other via text. So I think people really get excited for these Ark matches. Everybody shows up. We have tons of people on voice. And the fact that we win almost always just makes it all that much more fun, because, listen, you win, everybody's happy. We can hang out after the match, talk about whatever else is happening in the game. And, we've always just done well in Ark, and I think that's been important for growing our alliance over the years. It's something that, it shows each player that we do have good teamwork, we do have good players, and it sort of creates a confidence level that extends to other aspects of the game. And I think that for alliances that are coming up in the game that are not yet in Season of Conquest, I would really try to do well at Ark. I know that for a young kingdom, Ark of Osiris is very hard because you're playing against much more mature accounts. But I think if you just put in the effort to organize, if you put in a good performance on voice and with markers during the game, I think it's the kind of thing that brings the alliance together and gives confidence about the leadership team that's organizing these things. So you see here that we do manage to win in all categories. We beat them on the kill score by a pretty healthy margin. And yeah, that's pretty much the match. I think at the end here, I'm just kind of looking at the gathering scores a little bit. And I was pretty happy with 2,100 provisioning points. We had, I think, 3 or 4 gatherers, and we're just going to continue to do that number of gatherers because, 2K points for 4 marches, that's great. That's almost a full arc, and you certainly commit a lot more marches to winning an arc than you do to gathering. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking with the channel. I know it's been quite a long time since my last video. I'm trying to get back in the groove. I'm trying to start creating content again. This was an easy video to make because I just recorded the match and voiced over commentary. The videos that I make that have a lot of editing involved, it's just a little demoralizing to get started on those. But you all have been very supportive with likes. The videos have gotten a lot of views, and I absolutely want to get back into more regular video coverage. So I hope you'll stick with the channel. Please like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And I will see you all on the flip side.